For my English summary of what I just briefed for the Thai audience are the efforts that the Foreign Ministry is undertaking with regards to clarifying the facts, clarifying the situation to the international community. This will be done in numerous avenues, and the first topic would be our clarifications to the High Commissioner for Human Rights of the United Nations. Behind me, we have that letter. It's actually just one of a number of letters that unfortunately we have had to issue because of the impacts, the severe impacts that have landed on civilians due to the attacks being waged by the Cambodian side. The heart of the issue here is that the operations being conducted by the Thai side and the Cambodian side are drastically different. The Thai side, we are aiming at military targets. The Cambodian side are aiming at indiscriminate targets from weapons such as BM-21 rocket launchers, which have unfortunately claimed the lives of too many soldiers and civilians to count. This is just an example of one letter, and another letter that we are working on regards the recent announcement by the Ministry of Interior to suspend travel for foreigners, including Thais, across all border crossings. It is a violation of a number of international covenants and instruments, and we would like to place on record our serious concern with that announcement. The second topic that I briefed the Thai audiences on was, and I would like the next slide, please, the visit today of the Foreign Minister of Vietnam. He was on official visit to Thailand today. It was previously scheduled, but it was an important opportunity for my Foreign Minister to speak to him about the situation at the border and to clarify the facts and the intention behind our operations, which are to protect civilian lives. It's very important for us to get the message across, especially to ASEAN members, that we are not the side who wishes to escalate the tensions. We are conducting these operations to protect lives. That's it for my updates for today. ขอบคุณค่ะ
With the English translation to the press briefing today on the 14th of December for the afternoon session. We started off, of course, with the good news that the press center has now been able to translate and be able to produce the translation versions of all our press releases into 10 languages, namely Thai, Khmer, English, Chinese, French, Russian, Arabic, Spanish, German, and Japanese. So these are the 10 languages that we have issued as our press releases every day to members of the public, in particular to members of the global community at large, to understand the truth from Thailand. Now, we've had the explanation from the Ministry of Defense spokesperson, the deputy spokesperson rather, to talk about the latest situation of the letter of protest that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has forwarded and sent to the Office of High Commissioner for Human Rights, and also the details on the meeting between the Minister of Foreign Affairs and, of course, the Vietnamese Minister of Foreign Affairs today. Now, in terms of the update of the situation, I'd like to show you the timeline once again. Well, the key activities or the key events that have taken place here today, basically the bombardment, the continuation of the bombardment and the shellings of the Cambodian armed forces into Thai territory, and of course, which resulted in the death of one officer in Phumakhur area, and later on with another bombardment at 12:05, killing innocent civilian, and the rocket actually landed inศรีสะเกษ province in the civilian community there. I also have some other pictures that I'd like to show you here. So this is the ongoing situation that's happening or is happening along the border between Thailand and Cambodia across all the 7 border provinces here. The highlights of the events actually happened here, where the shelling of the BM-21 and the artillery fire actually landed in one of the military posts and killing one medical branch officer in Pumakua area. And the totality and the total number of the officers killed to date are 15 officers resulted from the actual clash between the two sides, and one officer while he was performing his duty. So the total of death is 16, and the casualties in terms of the injuries of actually has amounted to 327 personnel as a casualty. Majority of the personnel affected in the casualty as part of the injury actually have a very slight injury, and most of them have been able to return to work and return to their duty afterwards. Now, to the effect on civilian, the bombardment at 12:05, which actually landed on a civilian home, it actually resulted in the death of one civilian. And this is the picture, or these are the pictures of the home that the shelling landed. Next slide. And of course the casualty, the death of one civilian. And this is the area where the shelling landed in the community. Well, again, I'd like to emphasize on the point that this community does not have any security installations or military installations whatsoever. So again, the question was asked, or is asked, to the Cambodian side, why do you have to attack the civilian community? Next slide. Okay, the police informed the public of some of the pictures shared among the social media. And these are the pictures of what the social media claim to be the foreign fighters, the foreign war fighters who actually have been hired by the Cambodian armed forces to fight in the clash. The police said that they cannot confirm the truthfulness in the pictures of whether these people are actually the war fighters, the hired war fighters, so to speak. All right, so and again, the reaffirmation on the upgrade of the security measures in the port of entries, and these are the pictures of the Immigration Police Bureau conducting their operations in upscaling the measures of screening visitors, people coming in to the country. And now we've had the privilege of having the spokesperson from the Ministry of Public Health talking about the latest casualties among the civilians and the number of shelters that they have prepared to accommodate all the evacuees. So far, 995 shelters have been provided, and of course the affected people, civilians in fact, 258,626 persons, with of course 9 fatalities, with the latest situation of 1 person dead or killed as a result of the bombing from the BM-21, 6 civilians injured still, and the affected hospital of 20, and the sub-district hospitals of 219. Then the spokesperson of the Ministry of Public Health went on to talk about the welfare, well-being, that the Ministry of Public Health is looking after the people in the shelters. And this is one of the example of the renal dialysis cases. So far, the Ministry of Public Health has provided teams of doctors to look after people who are maybe suffering from the requirements for the treatment of renal dialysis here. About less than 500 people require the treatment of renal dialysis on this occasion. However, teams of doctors are available to help facilitate the treatment to those patients. Another point of concern from the Ministry of Public Health is, of course, the welfare and the hygiene of the population at large who are now residing or staying at the shelter areas. The Ministry of Public Health has provided teams of doctors and medical professionals to provide hygiene analysis and hygiene treatment to all these shelter areas. Even though we have not had any case of communicable disease at the moment, however, they have taken precautionary measures in conducting some of the hygiene prevention and the risk of spreading of disease prevention rather, by providing, again, teams of doctors to look after the healthcare and hygiene of the population at large, as well as, of course, another important point, the mental health issue among the population staying in the shelter areas. They have provided teams of doctors, the mental health experts, to help support the civilians who may be affected by the problem. And last, the pictures of the provision and donation of the medical supplies and medical equipment to the villages, the volunteer village defense forces and units by the Ministry of Public Health. They have now provided sufficient, I think, medical supply to all these village units according to their needs, because we've heard of the news and information that have been requested by the volunteer village defense commands or village forces, who actually are the people behind the scene and helping protect the properties and lives of the civilians who may be residing and living in the rear areas of the conflict. These village volunteer personnel are actually very supportive and beneficial to the security of the areas, and we have been able to provide some medical supplies to them. And the issue concerning tourism, we've had the privilege of having a representative from the Ministry of Tourism and Sports providing the details and the data statistics on the latest situation of visitors, tourists coming into Thailand, and he indicated that there is no significant decline in the arrivals of visitors coming into Thailand. So far, no significant effects from the clashes, from the conflict that we have at the moment. However, he also mentioned that Thailand remains a very attractive country for visits of foreign nationals who may be wanting to visit the country at this high season time. And there are also other regional areas where visitors can actually visit, apart from the areas where the clash is actually happening. Okay, of course, we honor to the fullest term the fallen soldiers, the fallen heroes who have contributed in safeguarding the sovereignty and the territorial integrity of the country. His Majesty the King, as well as Her Majesty the Queen, as well as members of the royal family, have also contributed not only by providing the wreaths to the fallen soldiers, but they have provided contribution in kind and in cash to the fallen soldiers as well. And this goes into, follows the same procedure with the high-ranking officers, namely the Prime Minister of Thailand, as well as the Minister of Defense, in providing honor to the fallen soldiers and their families. And also, we would like to inform the members of the public here that not only attending the funeral ceremonies of the fallen soldiers, but the armed forces continues to provide care and treatment and, of course, support to the members of the fallen soldiers' families as well, be they in terms of the educational support to the children of the fallen soldiers, support in terms of the financial support to the fallen soldiers' families, as well as providing career to the wives and spouses of the fallen soldiers as well. So all these are the care that the armed forces and the Ministry of Defense have been taking care of the families. And now to the Q&A, the question and answer. I would like to ask members of the panel here to help me answer some of the questions that we have from the public. So I'd like to quickly translate in summary the questions that have been asked by members of the public as well as the media here in the studio here. The question concerning the welfare of the military personnel that we intend to look after. Obviously, the Royal Thai Armed Forces and the Ministry of Defense will provide the full support to all members of the fallen heroes and members of the injured who have been involved in the recent clashes along the border. The members of the armed forces will be provided the full honor, including the promotion of ranks as well as the financial support to the family members. And the family members not only will receive the financial support, they also receive some of the benefits. For example, the employment of the relatives of the fallen heroes to be in the service of the armed forces. And of course, the children will receive the support for their educational purpose to the fullest extent. In terms of course, the news, whether the Royal Thai Navy plans to close the maritime border areas for the maritime traffic. At the moment, this is unconfirmed and it's not the intention of the Royal Thai Navy, at least the government, to close all the maritime borders for access of the public transport in the sea. This is only part of the discussion and the talk among members of the government, but this has not been confirmed. And of course, we realize the effect that this closure may affect the transportation of commercial goods and products in the maritime area. Nonetheless, we'll take the fullest consideration and fullest thoughts into this consideration to make sure that the commercial sea lanes and commercial routes are least affected as a result of the clash. In terms of the assurance that we would like to give to the members of the public, the Royal Thai Air Force spokesperson was asked on the question of the readiness of the Air Force, and he mentioned that the Air Force stands ready and it actually has been able to provide and will provide the fullest support to all the ground troops, and of course to exercise the military strike and strength to support the ground troops and of course the conduct of the actions of the armed forces as needed. And of course another question was on the confiscation of the latest anti-tank equipment from the Cambodian troops. The confiscation is actually good news for Thailand, of course, because that these equipments and these armaments will not be able to use against the Thai troops. So those are the questions and the quick summary of what they were asked and answered.